Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead. Metalhead leaves you all out.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome, metal fans, to another episode of the Great Metal Debate Podcast. It's Xander back with a new album review. Today, we'll be talking about the fourth full-length studio album from the German melodic death metal band known as Nyktophobia, titled To The Stars. Now, I personally have been a fan of this band for 3 years. I discovered these guys by chance while scrolling through the YouTube feed, and I came across their single called Winter Assault. I remember thinking, holy shit, I must listen to a full album. That's when I searched them up on Metal Archives and began jamming out to their 2017 debut, Fallen Empire. Needless to say, I had their 3-album discography playing on repeat for about a month or so. Once I had some extra cash, I ordered the Lost Kingdom t-shirt from their Bandcamp, as well as their Fate of Atlantis CD and What Lasts Forever cassette. A lot of items in their merch catalog were sold out, so I was lucky to get what I had gotten. I am truly fond of their groovy guitar melodies, most of which are contagious earworms. I remember having the main riff and chorus from Flight of the Phoenix stuck on my head for nearly a week. I would just be at work and randomly break out into song. Fly, spread your wings into the sky, I watch the sun, rise from the ashes, over is fire. As much as I love the album version of that song, I strongly dislike the re-recording they did. It's like they purposely ruined their own song. Oh well, I'm not here to talk about old songs. Let's dive into this album track by track. We're going to do this slightly back-asswards though, because the first 2 singles they released for this new album happen to be the last 2 songs on the record. That's sort of a bold choice if you ask me, the first of which was Millennium. When I heard the song, I had forgotten immediately what I just listened to. My thought was, maybe I wasn't paying attention. After all, I had to keep my eyes on the road because I was driving at the time. So I pulled over in a parking lot and listened to the song again. The impression I had was that it sounded okay, but nothing to remember. I figured the song would eventually grow on me, but after about 4 more listens, I still couldn't tell you what the song even sounded like. Nothing seemed to really stand out about it. It's not a bad song, it just wasn't memorable. I felt underwhelmed. But then I was like, okay, not their best work, but it's alright. Let's hear the new song titled Voyager 1. To be fair, I only heard this song once before Gomthog sent me the promo for this album. Since I had already completely forgotten both of the singles, I looked at it as a fresh start. When I opened the file for the opening track, I had mixed feelings over the fact that I had to sit through a minute of obligatory intro track, The Gateway, but on the other hand, it was at least a peaceful sounding intro with the piano keys. I can forgive an intro track as long as it's a good intro track. In fact, it fits seamlessly into the first real song, which happens to be the album title track, To The Stars. Now, this song got me nodding my head in approval. I loved the soaring guitar winding up over the blast beats, which continued through the rest of the track. Not a whole lot of variety, but it still sounds okay. At least it had a short-lived but calming break. Next we have the song Farewell. I like to point out the major change in lyrical theme while I'm here. Instead of the Greek mythology that this band is known for, it appears they've gone into the topic of interstellar travel, which is cool. Sometimes change is good, and I'm a huge science fiction fan. But how is the overall music going to resonate with Nyktophobia fans? This song in particular definitely has a good enough guitar riff to stick the landing. I would go as far as to say that the following song, Karen Gate, complements the former as a great precursor. Not that these 2 tracks go hand in hand or anything, but I do get the feeling of a build-up to a superior musical composition. I quite enjoy this one. It really reminds me of their earlier work. Tomaz's layered vocals go great with that soothing main riff played by guitarists Michael and Philip. I also like how this one brings back a chorus. The vocal patterns repeat the following lyric a few times. Rise up, humanity, a journey has begun. Across the river, accurate into the world's unknown. The Fall of Eden lifts off with a slower tempo, but kicks into high gear once Mikkel's galloping drumming style picks up a speedy rhythm. The guitars once again wind up with the sharp long notes. The problem with this is that when you hear the first 30 seconds of the song, that's when you begin to realize that this is how the rest of the song will play out. The same unchanging simplistic riff. Progenitor has the most relaxing intro to any song on the record by having us hear birds chirping over piano and cellos for 1 minute and 27 seconds. That timestamp, of course, brings us back to the world of good old-fashioned melodic death metal, and it's probably my favorite track thus far. But then we come to Behind the Stars Exists No Light, which honestly sounds pretty good. I like that moment when Thomas says, "There is no light behind the stars." And I already talked about these last two songs at the beginning of this review, but I need to revisit them. After listening to the whole album and returning to these, I can now provide a much better analysis. Starting with Millennium, I'll say that it still doesn't fully grab my attention, but it's okay. In conclusion, Voyager 1 is a perfect closer to the album, as the first half of the track is instrumental. A somber piano has keys being pressed down hard in a dramatic way, but later on, we get a very weird, almost alien-like sound. It's hard to describe, so you'll just have to check it out for yourself. My final thoughts on this record is that it still feels like What Lasts Forever Part 2, only a little bit better. I love this band, but my go-to albums will always be Fallen Empire and Fate of Atlantis. So I'll give Nyktophobia To The Stars a nice 8.5 out of 10 rating. You can show your support for Nyktophobia by streaming their music on all platforms, and of course, their merch is on their Bandcamp page. Hurry up and buy those box sets and vinyls, because they're going fast. And by the way, the booklet artwork is breathtaking, and much cooler than the album cover itself.